MDARD issues new ag labor housing rules. Farm Bureau members are asked to weigh in on EPA's glyphosate review, and the trend of a warmer, wetter Great Lakes region is expected to continue. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
Ag labor housing providers face new rules from the state. The Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development issued pandemic public health measures and migrant agricultural worker housing emergency rules on Tuesday.
What we did get this week is very similar, generally speaking, to what we had last summer. So for those that had licenses, it shouldn't look completely foreign. However, I think a point that we'd really like to make is that they are different, and so anyone that has an MDARD license for their labor camp will want to review these new guidelines carefully, and they'll need to frankly make some modifications to their COVID preparedness and response plan. And a lot of this, is based on the plan and criteria in the plan. And so there are some new resources that are out there to help folks modify these, but I think that's an important take home, is that those will need to be adapted for the 2021 season. A lot of folks will find helpful the checklist that MDARD has prepared for migrant labor camps to go through and to look at their plan and to adapt their plan. So just a very step-by-step procedure to look if you have certain elements within your COVID preparedness plan. Some of these elements may not have been required last year.
Migrant labor housing providers who have already received their 2021 license will have until April 1st of this year to comply with the provisions in the emergency rules. Coming up, the Great Lakes region is expected to continue on a warmer and wetter trend.
There's torque. Then there's 1,050 pound-feet of available best-in-class torque. There's towing. Then there's up to 37,000 pounds of available best-in-class towing. There's backing up a trailer. Then there's backing up with available class-exclusive Pro Trailer Backup Assist. In other words, there are trucks, and then there's the new Ford Super Duty, the most capable heavy-duty pickup truck ever built.
Over the past several decades, Michigan and the Great Lakes region have gotten warmer and wetter. Jeff Andreessen, state climatologist and extension agricultural meteorologist for Michigan State University, says the warming has occurred predominantly during the cold season and at night.
The other thing that's interesting about temperature is that the amount of warming has we're actually sort of in a sideways pattern right now. It's leveled off. Our minimum temperatures are still increasing a little bit, but not as much as they did back in the 80s and 90s. We saw a rapid increase at that during those decades. So we're warmer, but I think even more significantly, if you look at any variable, it's the increase in precip. Michigan is definitely significantly wetter than it was at any time. Really, we have essentially about 150 years of reliable climate records. And we can say with, I think, a fair amount of confidence that this has certainly been the wettest decade, our last 10 years on that record. One interesting variable, too, that doesn't get a lot of publicity, but it's also an important one as we look to at the central United States and the Corn Belt as a whole, are warm or unusually warm nighttime temperatures. And one thing that is known clearly physiologically when crops, and I think just right off the bat, corn and soybeans, when we have very warm nighttime temperatures, the plant basically wastes resources when it's really warm, and it undergoes stress. And stress is negative, and there are all the correlations with yield potential are negative. During the growing season, there's evidence that there's a lot of evidence that with more precipitation, that the frequency and severity of droughts now is relatively less. We still have droughts, but they tend to be less severe and, again, less common than they were in the past. That's a positive thing.
Up next, Farm Bureau members are asked to weigh in on EPA's glyphosate review.
Yep, we cover Michigan, from sandbars to sand dunes, cider mills to skiing hills, and farm towns to downtowns. We cover up north, and yep, we know exactly where that is. Yep, we cover Michigan because we're Michigan's insurance company.
Michigan Farm Bureau is asking members to submit comments to the Environmental Protection Agency supporting continued use of the crop protection tool, glyphosate. According to MFB National Legislative Counsel John Cran, the EPA's glyphosate evaluation is flawed, and the loss of glyphosate would present significant challenges for growers of more than 20 Michigan-grown commodities who utilize the tool. The EPA is accepting public comment until March 13th. As the snow thaws and we get a little closer to spring, weight restrictions have begun taking effect throughout the state. You can find current county weight restrictions as well as the new tracking app from the Michigan County Road Association on its website, micountyroads.org. For more news and videos, visit MichiganFarmNews.com or the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.